Here are 5 lessons for men over 50 that I learned running the Tahoe 200-mile endurance race. For me, running Tahoe was nothing short of life-changing, and I've been struggling to find ways to articulate the experience, but I don't know that I'll be able to. It's kind of one of those things that you have to experience to fully understand, but I wanted to try and dissect some of the lessons that I learned out there on that course that we can take into everyday life. So here's my best shot. I hope you'll stick around and find some of these useful. It was an absolutely incredible experience, and there were so many lessons that apply to everyday life. You know, there's a myth out there that you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and I want to call bullshit on that. For all of us over 50 years old, this dog is still learning new tricks, and maybe more importantly, this dog is learning how to evolve as a human being, as a man, as I embrace more and more of who I truly am. Finding authenticity is such a freeing practice. All right, are you ready for this? Here we go. Lesson number 1, ditch preconceived notions. If I had gone into that race believing that there's not a fucking hope in hell I could run 200 miles, because I can guarantee you there was a time in my life that I would have told you that. There's no way I would have successfully completed that. When we hit that mid-century mark, it's easy for us to believe that we've seen it all, we've heard it all, and we know how it's all going to play out. But I gotta tell you, that mindset, it's a trap. You know, in Zen Buddhism, there's a concept called Shoshin, the beginner's mind. It means approaching life with curiosity, humility, and openness. Out on that course in Tahoe, I reminded myself that I don't know how this is going to end. And I'm okay with it, because I'm here to learn, I'm here to experience, I'm here to drink it all in and embed whatever lessons come up. When we let go of expectations, when we let go of what we think we know, we tend to find the things we need to know. Shoshin is the antidote to ego, and it transforms performance from proving to experiencing. Number 2, confidence is a result, not a requirement. How often have I heard men tell me, yeah, if only I had a little bit more confidence, or if only this would happen, then I would be able to that. If this happened, then I'd have the confidence to do that. The truth is, confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. If I waited long enough to feel confident that I could run 200 miles, we would not be having this conversation, and I would still be waiting. But I'll tell you what, after crossing that finish line, ask me now, how confident am I that I could run another 200 miles? I tell you, the answer to that today is substantially different than it was pre-race. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. Do the thing will give you the confidence. And even if we fail, we've now learned a way that doesn't work, so we have the confidence to go back in and try something a little bit different. Courage isn't the absence of fear. We know this. It's doing things in spite of that fear. Lesson number 3, dirt naps are fucking magic. Never underestimate the power of a rest, a nap, even if it's a short one. You know, I'd heard veteran ultra runners talk about the power of the dirt nap. A little nap beside the trail when you just need to lay down for a few minutes and get some sleep. Over the course of 200 miles, sleep deprivation is a real thing, no question. So I'd heard about the power of the dirt nap, but once again, it's one of those things that you don't really understand until you experience it. 37 hours in, I experienced my first dirt nap. I was running out of gas. I recognized that I needed a rest. I texted Michelle at 9:42 p.m. I said, dirt nap. At 9:50, I texted her again, nope, too many bugs. And I got up and I got moving again. 10 minutes later, I shot her another text and said, holy shit, that was a game changer. I'm running again. The refreshment in my legs was unbelievable. Just that short 8-minute rest, and I'm not even sure I fell asleep during that time, but taking that 8 minutes to rest rejuvenated my legs. It allowed me to get that energy back and get moving again, faster and more efficient than I was prior to that. That brief moment of pause brought me several hours of momentum. How often in life do we push through exhaustion thinking, I don't have time to stop, I got too much to do, I'm 56 years old, I don't have that much time left, I need to keep moving. But here's the paradox. Sometimes in order to go faster, you need to slow down a little bit. Sometimes the fastest way forward is to stop, take a breath, rest, and reset. Productivity isn't just about motion, it's about intention. Lesson number 4, ask for support when you need it. I was incredibly fortunate to have Michelle and my sister Judy out supporting me, crewing me through the entire race, and it was absolutely fantastic having them available at all of the crew accessible aid station. But what I didn't count on was the need for a pacer. You see, pacers are allowed to run with you for certain sections of the course, and what they do is they really remove the cognitive load from the runner, because all you have to do is follow their feet. You don't have to worry about navigating, you don't have to worry about what time is it, do I need to refuel, do I need to stop and rest? That is your pacer's job. A friend of mine had to drop from the race. He rolled his ankle really badly about 10 kilometers in, and I saw him at the 50K mark at the aid station as he was pulling out, and he said to me, hey, you know what, I've got a couple of pacers that are coming in to pace me. Obviously, they won't be able to pace me because I'm not running. Would you like to use it? And I kind of brushed it off. I think deep down it was that inner toddler, me do myself. And that ego kind of kicked in, and I just kind of brushed it off and away I went. Little did I understand how badly I would need a pacer later in that race and how valuable that might have been if I had accepted that support when it was offered, and I did. By mile 190, I was so sleep deprived and disoriented, I started questioning whether I was actually running towards the finish line or whether I was running back towards the last aid station again. I was just so out of it, I wasn't sure, and legitimately, again, I knew that I must be going the right way, but I still had that doubt, I still had that questioning, and when I'd stop to regroup, I'd fall asleep literally standing up. And it was horrible because I just could not think. I did not have the brain capacity. About 195 miles in, I ended up taking a wrong turn. And somehow I realized that, you know what, I kind of feel like I'm off course. So I ended up phoning Michelle. I had her check me on the live tracker. Sure enough, I was off course. So I ended up making my way back on course, but I lost at probably a good hour because of that. And if I had just accepted that support, if I'd had a pacer who could have navigated for me and I could have just followed along in their footsteps, I would have been able to complete that race much easier and much quicker. How often does our ego, our pride, get in the way of accepting support when it's offered or asking for support when it's needed? Whether we're talking about on the trail, in life, or in the boardroom, ask for support when you need it, accept support when it's offered. Don't let your ego or your pride get in the way like I did. Seeking support isn't weakness, it's wisdom. And come on, man, we've been around, we've been on this planet long enough. We should have the wisdom to know that asking for support is a smart thing to do. Lesson number 5, you're never too old to do big things. 20 years ago, if you told me I would be running a 200-mile ultramarathon at the age of 56 years old, I would have told you you're freaking nuts. That's old, you can't do that shit. But here we are. So here's the thing. I'm just 26 years old with 30 years experience. And for me, that mindset shift is everything. Because I still have the enthusiasm, I still have the drive, I still have the want, the desire of that 26-year-old. But I have the wisdom and the experience and the resources of the 56-year-old that I am. So don't talk yourself into believing that age is going to prevent you from doing something. I'm 26 with 30 years experience, and I'm just getting started. You are not done, you are not too old, you are not past your prime, and I can assure you, you are not alone. If anything, you are finally armed with the wisdom, the grit, the patience to push further than you ever thought possible before. So don't settle, don't coast. This next chapter is yours to write. Brené Brown talks about When we deny our story, it owns us. When we own our story, we get to write a brave new ending. These are just 5 of the lessons that I experienced out on the trail that helped rewire my operating system. It's not about knowing the lessons, it's about finding ways to embody those. And oftentimes, it's not just the learning, it's the experiencing, it's the doing. It's about getting out on that trail, whatever that trail is for you. I get it. Not everybody wants to run 200 miles, and you don't have to. But find a way to create an experience that will shift your perspective, that will embody those lessons into your operating system. So those lessons learned on the trail aren't just lessons for the trail, they are lessons for life. Let go of what you think you know. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. Confidence comes after action, not before. Rest is powerful. Seek support when you need it. And remember, my friend, you are never, ever, ever, ever too old to do epic shit. All right, my friend, as always, stay curious, stay connected. Have an epic day.